Hello, my name is M.Harner, and today I'll be talking to you about a feasibility study I did on installing solar panels in my household. A little bit of background. We get our electric from PPL, Electric Utilities. They're a very big company. They are in the New York Stock Exchange. They dominate the power industry, at least around here. They're located in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and as you can see on the screen, they serve over 1.4 million customers. That's in Pennsylvania alone, and they have 48,000 miles of electrical wire, and like I said, they do very well with their income, netting an income of almost $1.5 billion. Here's the problem. We, as a household, rely very heavily on PPL, and because they dominate the industry so much, they have such an advantage that at times they can almost seem to have a monopoly over the rest of the industry, and this is never good because electricity being such a necessity in the modern world, without it, we wouldn't be able to do anything, or most things, and because of that, they can charge pretty much whatever they want because we're at their benefit. Another problem that goes along with that is the harmful effects on the environment. This comes in the power generation process. This takes place at the plant. When they generate this electricity, they burn fossil fuel and just pollute the air, and it's a huge cause for concern with all the issues going on today, whether it's global warming or any aspect of climate change. So that's why I decided to ask myself the question, is solar panel installation a more efficient route? As you can see here, it's a picture of what solar panels look like on a normal household. They usually mount directly to the roof. A contractor will come out and install them. They require a license, they require maintenance, but in the end, they're clean, very efficient energy, and my goal of this project was to see what it would cost me to say goodbye to my electric bill from PPL and totally transform it into this solar green energy. My home specifically, the first step I took to figure out what all I would need was looking at my electric bill. For May of 2015, we had 950 kilowatt hours, which is pretty average, maybe a little above average for a household. And then also, as you can see on the screen, we netted 1,430 kilowatt hours in December of 2014. Now, what we tend to see is that in the colder months, December, January, February, the electric bill usually goes up. For us specifically, it's usually due to our electric heater. We have a big coal stove and it relies on heavy power drawing to run. So that's a huge factor we have to consider, because if we want to do this year round, we're going to have to make sure that at a very minimum we provide enough, as much as 1,400, roughly 1,500 kilowatt hours in those winter months. So as a result, we're going to need that many panels year round. If you take that 1,500 number and you kind of divide it down into 30 days, 31 days, what you get is about 48 kilowatt hours needed per day. So this is what happens in a 24-hour span, and the next factor that has to be accounted for is the sunlight hours. Sunlight hours are the amount of direct sunlight that hits the solar panels in a day. And for Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which relates to Reading, Pennsylvania, I found that it was around 4.3 sunlight hours depending on our positioning on Earth. And what I did then was I said, okay, if you have 4.3 sunlight hours and you need 48 kilowatt hours, how many watts does that all come out to? What I found was that in one day, that's approximately 11,100 watts. My next step was figuring out cost. One way that the industry likes to come up with cost totals is through a per watt basis. And right now, when you factor in the purchase of panels as well as contractor to come out and install them, so installation, as well as maintenance fees and licensing fees, that all comes out to around $4.72 per watt. And if you take that wattage I just calculated in the last slide and multiply it with the 472 number, you get about $53,000 total. Now, that seems like a lot at first, but there's a few things to take into consideration. Most people who do this solar panel installation, they usually will tend to be pretty set on where they're living, at least for over 10 to 15 years. They're expecting to be there because it's a long-term project. So what I did was I took a 30-year outlook and I divided those 30 years into the $53,000, and what I got was $150 per month, and that's just raw, straight per month if you take total cost, which doesn't even dip into the governmental incentives, which I'll get into next. And like I said just now, it's about $150 per month, and that compares to my current PPL electric bill of about 80 to 140, depending on, again, the months of the year. Now, the government is very, very favorable of going green. So what they do is they offer many, many incentives on whether it be federal or the state government. They all offer incentives for going green via solar panels. What they did was one of the really good packages I found that would fit our household, because they're all tailored around the household you live in. Not all incentives work for everybody, but for my house, I found that they would offer a 30% tax credit. That 30% takes 30% of that $53,000 number that I calculated, which is the total cost of panels. So what I found is if you take 30% of 53,000, you get $15,900, and that comes out to a deduction, which will knock everything down in total to around $37,100, about $37,000, which is about $100 per month. So that takes that bill that was previously seemed a little bit higher than my current electric bill, and if you take the total cost, all the incentives, stretch it out over 30 years, it's about $100 per month, which is right in the middle. It's right in the middle of what I pay right now for the electric from PPL. In conclusion, like I said, if you go back a couple slides, you can see that that PPL electric bill is between $80 and $140. So with that solar bill dropping right in the 100 range, it really hits that median and kind of shows that in the end, as of right now in 2015, the total costs are pretty much the same. They don't differ too much. You're not getting a significantly different price drop. You're not saving a ton of money. It's going to be about the same. Another thing you have to factor in is with the solar panels comes a lot of maintenance. You got to do it at least once a year. If something ever happens, you have to get them replaced. You could lose power for a certain amount of time. Another factor that doesn't come along with electric the way we have it now. We get our electric bill from the company. It comes in. They don't have to worry about coming out once a year to check it. And another thing is, I personally found that I think it'd just be best to wait. Panel prices, from everything I saw through this project, are expected to drop in the future. So why not wait? Because we've seen that normal electric coming from power plants, that's always kind of had a pretty fixed rate. Adjusted with inflation, it usually amounts to being the same cost most years, no matter where you're looking, as far back as you want to go. And solar panels are becoming, with technology increasing, just becoming more and more advanced and a lot better and more suited to the consumer. So everything I read says that in the future, the prices for these are going to drop significantly. So wait now. They're still in the early stages of development. Only been around for not too long in the grand scheme of things. So it's worth the wait. In conclusion, like you can see, I don't find it worth the switch right now. But like I said, in the future, maybe 5 to 10 years down the line, things could be different. I recommend strongly though, if you are interested, the best thing to do is first just look at your electric bill. Find out how much power your house draws per month. That's a crucial number to know. And then maybe if you're in the summer looking at it, try to find some of those winter months so you can get a range. Depending on what type of load your house has, it's going to vary. But try to find a good estimate for the year-round total and then research it. Go on. You can use that number I mentioned earlier about the price per wattage of solar panels, installation, maintenance, purchasing. Uh, Find out, depending on your area, where you live, how many sunlight hours you get. That's a very important number. Put it all together, do some heavy research, and then also really look into those governmental programs, because those can be, some people may not be as fortunate, may not be able to benefit from them as much, whereas other people may be able to really use those benefits to their advantage. It's all unique among people based off of your income, your household, how many panels you plan to use, what type of panels. So look into that, and in the end, if it works, go for it. If not, remember that in the future, those prices are going to drop, so be patient and wait until the time is right to do it. Thanks. Hope you learned a lot from this. If you have any questions, I will provide my email in the attached file for the program. Thanks.